here. As we have Rene visiting from New York.
New York City, yes, I'm Rene. Everyone calls me Rene, yes. So this is, I'm actually going to read one of my father's poems, who's 103, so he's going to watch from there. And we grew up, my sisters and I, down on Franklin Drive, past the big tree, you know. And so this is his poem. I published a book of his on his 100th birthday, and this is included in there, and it's called Añoranza. And this is my translation, because he writes mostly in Spanish. So this is Añoranza, nostalgia, homesickness. And he begins, today I walk with longing through the dusty streets of the barrio, where I dreamed in youthful candor, where now in old age I revisit the houses on the block, those earliest days that inspired my life. The yellow house that sighs with memories is still there, the threshold of the room where I was born, but the fig tree and the branches where I pretended to be Tarzan of the apes are gone, as are the walnut that filled our baskets and the lemon tree that grew next to the back door. Where is the garden that my grandmother tended with love, the lilac that fell to the saw because it blocked the way to the garage? So much has changed, not just in my home, but on the entire block and neighborhood. There are only a few children in the street. Perhaps they are at home in front of the television, mesmerized by the images. I don't recognize anyone that I see on the sidewalks, nor do I wish to knock on the doors of my old companions for fear that they won't recognize me. I have no idea who has died in the wars that transpired during the years of my absence, nor those who have passed away from old age and boredom. Here, on the edge of my barrio, I have discovered the truth that I have not come to find my roots, but it is youth that I long for, the antidote to everything converted to harmony, the atmosphere of poverty seen through rose-colored glasses. For nothing can assuage my faith and optimism as I step onto my most beloved stage. René Galván, who was a professor at Texas State for 50 years. Thank you. So this one is my own. It's related to the poem I read of my father's called Añoranza, and I didn't mention the setting of the other poem. It was in San Antonio, in this street called Rehmann Street, and my grandmother had a yellow house, which he mentions in the poem, and then she bought a second one next door. It's where he really grew up, and used the rent from the yellow house to pay the mortgage on the house on Rehmann Street that we all knew. And I think my sisters all went there. I don't think they've heard this poem yet. So I call this one The Old House on Rehmann Street. The steady mantra on the awning evokes a memory of my abuelo asleep in his couch on the screen porch. The boy watches bald spots on the lawn become pools, the hanging wash caught by surprise. Abuela's adjacent room redolent with her polvo, freshly laundered street sheets, and the scent of ghosts from her past. A room that was always dark. My father's old quarters kept as he left them years ago, his dried fountain pens, a crystal radio he built from a kit, and old watches, dials frozen in time. The paperboy made good, an emigre in hollowed halls, followed by his son, likewise, with one foot in that haunted house. From my first book, actually, Meteors, And this poem I wrote in the 7th grade with all this talk of cicadas. This is called Cicadas. It must have been 7 years old, but I included it. We live in lone, search for sustenance in the darkness, burrow endlessly, mindlessly, and cannot imagine a world of light where we take wing in a delicate stained glass flight. And so this one, a more full poem from my, I think, 3rd book, The Shadow of Time. And this is called L'Heure Bleue, the time of evening, which is the twilight or the gloaming. And the epigraph I have is by Jacques Rene, who was a perfumer in Paris at the turn of the last century. And he says this regarding one of his scents that he manufactured. The sun has set, but night has not fallen. It's the suspended hour, the hour when one finally feels oneself in renewed harmony with the world and the light. The night has not yet found its star. And again, I should mention that I read you poems about my father's San Antonio home. This is my mother's home in Uvalde, Texas, that Uvalde, the now famous Uvalde. And this is the yard my sisters will remember, which was really their favorite. And so this poem begins, L'Heure Bleue. As the world folds into shadow, a great tapestry descends. The coyotes lament from the wild place across the creek, and the fading chorale of the late train awaking crepuscular birds who inhabit the rift like rare gods. Abuelo sits in the cleft of a mesquite, his rolled tobacco flickering with the fireflies as a dim lantern receives the adoration of moths. A cat's eyes glow green in the gloaming light, and a cloud of mosquitoes devoured by a flurry of bats. The outhouse door moans open, and the boy treads quietly on the moonlit stepping stones, through the corn in the calabacitas, under the windmill as it measures the October wind. Pupils widen like black holes, ingest the night spirits, and he cannot yet imagine a world beyond these stars, or that he will someday live in a place where it's never dark.